Hey, Suki. All right, so I want to talk about depression, teenage depression. I had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of kids, and I know they were depressed now. I didn't know that then. Sometimes, they told me, and I know, and we talked about it, but at that point, I didn't really know what depression was.
Right.
You know it when you have it, but when somebody else presents it, you don't really know. Okay, but I knew De'Ara was depressed because De'Ara came to my class and she was unusually sad. It wasn't like her. And it was so bad. I said to her, no, I didn't even say to her. I didn't say anything. I made her a little note that said, "You seem blue. That's not like you." And then I folded the little note up like she does. And I took some blue chalk, which gets all over your hands. But I took that chalk and I colored the note in blue. Get it?
Oh, yeah.
You seem blue.
That's
And it
cute.
was so cute.
That's
Okay.
so
So then I gave her the
cute.
note. She was supposed to be doing her work, but I passed her this note. And then she opened it up and she had all this blue shit on her fingers. So then she smiled.
Aw.
She was really happy that I wrote her this note.
Right.
Okay, so that's not that kind of is the point.
Right.
Kids go through these stages and they would come into my classroom and they would be depressed. Sometimes I would know and sometimes I wouldn't.
Right.
The thing that surprised me was my own kids grew up and they would be depressed. And I didn't know. And I thought I could see something like that in my own kids. Okay, and I couldn't. Now, when my son was a preteen, I took him to counseling. I didn't know any, I didn't see any, but I knew he was having a hard time, and I knew that as his parents, we didn't know what to do. So I found him a counselor, and I drove an hour every week to take him to counseling. And the guy was good, and I made sure he was Black, and he was with the University of Chicago. So I didn't want just like any kind of anybody. It was my child. All right, so that was the first time. But then we moved to Pennsylvania. And I knew that when you make a move like that, kids are going to be affected. They're going to go into a depression.
Mm-hmm.
So when I got to Pennsylvania, the first thing I did was join the Y, because I knew that I needed to work out because of depression. I knew that kids go through those same kinds of changes.
Mm-hmm.
And if we moved to Pennsylvania, my teenager needed to go to the Y with me. And so I had a baby. She was 9 years old. Come on, she could go too.
Right.
And it would definitely benefit them.
Mm-hmm.
Even if I didn't see it, it's just a good idea to know what kids. Okay, so I'm talking. Now, when my kids got in high school, my son was depressed, and I did not know it until I looked at the pictures 5 years later, and then I could see him looking at me like with his head down and, looking all crazy. But now I know that was depression.
Right.
I didn't know that then. I thought he was just being funky because he was a teenager and he wouldn't hurry up and, do what I wanted him to do. Okay? And then when my baby came up, she was depressed. I didn't know that. until my son said, "Mom, she's depressed." I was like, "How do you know?" He said, "Mom, have you ever listened to that music she listens to? She likes to listen to Adele. That's depressing. She's depressed." So I felt so stupid. I felt like, what? I'm her mother. And I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
And I believed him. So, okay, I didn't change all the things that needed to be changed to help her.
Mm-hmm.
But at least now I was kind of aware. I did listen to the lyrics, and I was like, oh man, she's depressed. Okay. So at some point later, she decided to go to college and major in psychology.
Wow.
So she had a good understanding of depression, and so she sought out her own therapy.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that Black kids have a hard time doing that, but my kids knew, and my students knew, that I went to therapy. Thelma, did you know? I told my students everything. So I assume I told them that, but maybe I didn't. And it's really important for kids to know that therapy is not for crazy people.
Right.
I mean, it is. But it is for normal people too.
Right.
Okay? It's for normal people. And kids need to know that. But, when I taught 9th grade, because they are special, I used to start the year and tell them, I was in therapy all summer, so I can deal with you. And if I have to go back to therapy, I will.
Mm-hmm.
And if I have to snap on you, I'll do that too. So maybe my therapy didn't work. Okay. Anyway, I gotta love you. I love you. I gotta go. Okay. All right. So I've been talking a long time, and Mark Zuckerberg is probably really happy because he made a lot of money. All right. Thelma, I gotta go. I love you. Goodbye.